Hello, how are you? Today I brought you a sensational gummy recipe made with ingredients that are scientifically proven to help reduce glucose spikes and control blood sugar. It can be a wonderful alternative if you live with diabetes, pre-diabetes, or want to better control your blood sugar. And it's a delicious way for you to add these ingredients into your daily routine. It's very easy to make. You're going to love it. Stick around until the end. You won't want to miss this. Of course, it's sugar-free, but it's worth repeating that for you here. Before we start, I want to ask you, do you live with diabetes or does someone in your family live with diabetes? Are you concerned about taking care of your diet? This is super important for you to manage this condition and avoid glucose spikes. Tell me, what do you usually change in your daily routine? I would love to see your comment. Remember to like the video. That's super important to me here on the channel. It shows YouTube that you support the channel and that you trust my content. And take a look at the description to get the ingredients. I always leave all of them down here in the description for you. Before we start, I want to tell you that I'm going to make a tea, an infusion, but the recipe itself is not a drink. It's not a tea. I'm just going to use it as a base. And I already have my water boiling here where I'm going to add the ingredients so we can start from there. The first ingredient I'm going to add to our hot water is hibiscus. Hibiscus has a combination of interesting properties that help control blood sugar and glycemia. It is very rich in phenolic acids and bioactive compounds, which can help reduce the activity of enzymes that metabolize carbohydrates in the intestine. As a result, it helps slow down the absorption rate of carbohydrates, helping to prevent glycemic spikes. In addition, hibiscus is a powerful natural antioxidant. And we know how important that is for people living with diabetes, for those who want to control their blood sugar. Hibiscus also has a very interesting anti-inflammatory role, and this can help improve insulin sensitivity. Just like green tea itself, which is a powerful antioxidant and natural anti-inflammatory, very rich in EGCG, which is a compound very interesting for reducing inflammation in our body and can also help improve insulin sensitivity. On top of all that, green tea can also stimulate our metabolism, facilitate the loss of visceral fat, which always helps with metabolic issues regarding insulin sensitivity and metabolic syndrome. So, as a complement, it's a great option to help you control that. In addition, green tea also helps with the rate at which carbohydrates are absorbed. It's worth mentioning that when we say that they help prevent spikes and improve the rate of absorption, we're saying that it slows the action of carbohydrates. It makes that carbohydrates move a bit more slowly from the stomach to the intestine and from the intestine into the bloodstream. And it's not that it reduces the amount of carbohydrates in the meal. That's a very important point. I'll also add chamomile tea here, which is a flower that few people associate with diabetes. But it plays a very interesting role due to its anti-inflammatory and antioxidant potential. It contains epigenin, which really helps in this regard. And we also know that because of chamomile's high amount of antioxidants, it can help prevent complications by fighting free radicals. Many people with uncontrolled chronic diseases, such as diabetes, can have problems related to this large amount of circulating free radicals. So keeping that under control is always very important. Besides that, chamomile has another very interesting effect, which is that we know chamomile is naturally a mild, natural calming agent. So this also helps to control stress and anxiety a bit. Many people who live with high blood sugar get very stressed about what to eat, worried about whether their glucose will go up or not. It also helps you relax and reduces anxiety a bit as a complementary effect. Now we wait about 10 minutes for this infusion to take place and then we move on, so just wait a moment. Also remember that chamomile has a very interesting role as it can help prevent postprandial glucose spikes, that is, after meals, and it can also help with insulin sensitivity in a complementary way. So now let's set it aside here. And here I have another ingredient, which is chia. Chia is fantastic for helping to prevent glucose spikes because it ends up having a very interesting combination of ingredients. It has a soluble fiber that, when we hydrate it, which I'm going to do now, with some warm water, forms a mucilage. This mucilage causes the food to take longer to move from the stomach to the intestine and from the intestine into the bloodstream. So it really prevents that abrupt increase in glucose, that heightened insulin secretion, and that subsequent drop due to this imbalance. Besides that, when we hydrate chia beforehand, it becomes fully hydrated and forms this mucilage. It takes up more space in our stomach. So it helps promote early satiety. In addition, chia is also very interesting because it contains precursors of omega-3 as a source of fat. So it helps because it is naturally anti-inflammatory. This fat is very beneficial for helping to control low-grade chronic inflammation. And having a less inflamed body helps the metabolism as a whole, and it can also help to prevent problems related to diabetes complications as well. Now let's wait for the chia to hydrate, and then I'll strain the tea and we'll continue from there. So I've strained the tea, the infusion here. I'll set this aside. And now in this mixture, I'm going to hydrate the neutral, colorless, flavorless gelatin. This gelatin is nothing more than cooked collagen. And protein is very interesting. Gelatin is pure protein, and protein also helps prevent glucose spikes. And as I mentioned, it's good for your skin, nails, hair, and joints, so it ends up being quite beneficial. I'm going to hydrate this here, and then I'll dissolve it. Since this water is hot, I might not even need to heat it up. But if I see that there are still some lumps, I'll heat it up in the microwave. If you prefer, you can also use a double boiler because it's important that this part is well dissolved so we can continue with the recipe. So look, it's already well dissolved. I grabbed the chia as well to show you that it's already super hydrated. And this makes it much easier when we mix it here with the liquid, with the infusion, because that way it doesn't turn into a block of chia when it hydrates all in one spot. So I'm going to scrape everything out well here and give it a good mix. And since it's already hydrated, it's really practical because all we have to do is mix everything well here, and then I'll put it in the fridge to chill. Patricia, aren't you adding sugar sweetener or anything like that? Sugar, I definitely don't recommend that you add. If you want to control your blood sugar, you shouldn't add sugar here, not even brown sugar, demerara, or honey. If you wanted, you could add a little stevia or another non-caloric sweetener, but I don't think it's necessary because hibiscus has such a nice raspberry taste. So for me, personally, I don't think it's needed, but if you feel it is, it's up to you. Now, I'm going to fill these ice cube trays here. I'm not going to put them in the freezer, okay? I'm going to put them in the fridge, and then once they're set, which happens pretty quickly since there's already gelatin in here, so this will become firm, solid, really fast. When it's ready, I'll come back and show you. Then I'll tell you about the timing and everything else. So I filled this ice cube tray, but there's still more here, so I'll fill another one later. I'll tell you at the end how many it makes, okay? Now I'm going to chill it, and I'll be right back. I unmolded them here, and they look so cute. And since we hydrated the chia, look, it's nicely separated at the bottom and on top. Try making it, you're going to love it. Now let's talk about the best time to eat it. A great time to consume it could be before a meal, especially when you're feeling hungrier, because the chia can help increase that feeling of fullness and satiety. It could be at lunch, dinner, or even as an afternoon snack. If you prefer, choose the meal when you usually feel the hungriest and have it before that. And always remember, this here is not a miracle cure. This little gummy does not replace a balanced diet. It never replaces your medication, and it doesn't replace seeing a doctor or nutritionist to help you organizing your life. Remember that this video is for informational purposes only. If you're unsure whether you should consume it or not, make sure to talk to the healthcare professional who takes care of you in your city before making any changes. I want to know what time you'll be taking it. I'd love to see your comment. Remember to like the video. That really helps me out here on the channel. And share it with someone who will like it. Just one more detail that I almost forgot. Since we're adding more fiber here, remember to also add more water to keep your intestines working properly. Let's try it. The taste really is hibiscus with chamomile, so it's very pleasant. Make it yourself. You're going to love it. See you next time. Bye.